Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to The Prize Inside, the 1% Tribe edition on a Sunday night where us Michigan people didn't know that there was going to be a Tigers playoff game about 8:30 at night on a Sunday night. So if you're watching, put the comments if anything happens in that game. It's baseball, though, so if you kind of go later, you'll find out all the info anyway. So I'm excited to do it. Hopefully, you guys are doing great tonight. Little update on my dad. He's doing better, much, much better. He's got a little work ahead of him. He gets to come home, do some things, those kind of things. So, but pretty proud of him for getting through all this stuff. And he is one that he loves the stuff we get him. And so it's kind of funny. He tries a lot of things. My parents both do, actually, in the holistic and herbals that we're going to talk about tonight is one of the things we do, right? So if you've been with us before, 1% Tribe is about three things: thoughts, toxins, trauma. Sometimes we do thoughts. We did that last week. We did a little 1% night of good creation, right? Which is amazing. Those are the thoughts. Toxins. We look at different, nature's medicines that are out there. And one reason I went into herbalism. So I went into this registered herbalist stuff. I'm getting close to being what they call a clinical herbalist, which is like 800 hours, I think. 800 or 600 hours. But then we also do trauma. So then we'll look at, movement patterns and all those kind of things. Tonight's is interesting because it's about holy basil. Holy basil is a herb that you don't hear about, but you're starting to. And those that have been with me, it actually acts like an adaptogen, even though what you hear on the news and the media, or in the main, what you hear about it has some different really good stress relieving properties. But I wanted to go through all of them, tonight and see how it goes. Oh, I got some comments. Oh, yeah. Oh, all right. This is awesome. Terry, it's good to see you. Oh, yes. Brian, I'm glad you're on. This is for you, buddy. You brought it up the other day. I looked it up. And I was like, man, people have to understand what this actually entails, because hopefully you can give us our a little bit of insight as well. So Brian brought this one to my attention, and we've been talking about it a little bit, but man, like what I find out when you dive even deeper in there, it is going to be sweet. So I got a new person, Grenade 1313. That's cool. Glad to see you. Thank you. That's pretty cool. So that's awesome. So I'm working it. The technology is not my thing most of the time. So with that said, though, because we brought up the Rumble action, here's what I want you to do. I'm up to like 65 people on Rumble, actually, which I'm really pumped about. And we do many different things. We're in different platforms, but I want to put them all into the chat for you guys. So if you like what you're seeing, we usually go Sunday night at 8:30 and Wednesday night at 8:30. And here's our Rumble channel in the chat. Here is our YouTube channel. That one, I don't know how many I got on that one yet. I'm not going to pay attention yet until later. That one we've changed the title to the prize inside a chiropractor's journey. So that one could be a good place. Those are the two I recommend highly because you can watch all the old videos. Like if you really like this talk on Holy Basil, you can get some good information, and see if it's something for you. We've done turmeric, ginger, so many different ones. There's so many we've done already. This is like my 70th episode. I'm completely addicted. So, and then the other thing is if you're ever you want an email to make sure you know when we go live, I got tribe1.substack.com is our other one that I'm putting in the chat. And then our final one that I really like and how I got started was in the podcast world. So if you look up in any kind of podcast, I'm kind of upset because our Whole Health Weekly I'm going to have to download it tonight. So I'll have 2 episodes tonight on the podcast thing. So because it didn't download to where I need to. But if you look up the prize inside a chiropractor's journey, we are there as well. But don't forget. So the big thing is Wednesday night at 8:30. We go through what we call Whole Health Weekly. And that's where we go through various topics in the news. There's some pretty good ones coming out in the health and longevity world. But we'll be hitting those. And we do a little chiropractic research on that night. But really, it's about finding information that we might have online and helping us understand it and discern it in a holistic, what I call innate intelligence, right, way that we start actually creating or healing our own body. Because here's the news flash of this podcast. The only person that can heal you is you. The innate intelligence of your human body is what you do. We have to remove all the interferences. That's our job. And those interferences come through thoughts, toxins, and traumas. Okay. It's as simple as that, but it's also as difficult as that, if that makes sense. So without further ado, Bradford, I expect you to tell me scores. All right, here we go. No, I'm just kidding. So let's talk about some Holy Basil. This is going to be a good one. And this one's a really nice one. Great conversations I have in the office on people that are struggling with a high stress situation. There's hundreds of these different things. Sometimes it's really good to find something nice that may be not an addictive type situation, right? So there are ones out there that maybe instead of grabbing, liquor or something, or, the thing that they say is not addictive, but it could be potentially for you. So just be careful, but like marijuana, those kind of things. Instead of doing those or these psychedelic drugs that we're actually giving away in the sick care model of things, maybe try something. There's so many avenues. I'm going to tell you this before we start. The one thing about this herbal stuff that I've been learning is there are a ton of options, a ton in almost every category. And we have to understand that these are all things that they help support the innate intelligence within you. And so once it starts to and be able to support that innate intelligence within you, you can really, really start honing in on the different processes, right? And so that's why I love this stuff. Imagine your whole, this is my envision for all my 1% tribers. Imagine if your entire house is full of flowers and foods that you can actually mass produce your own teas or tinctures, and they're all good for us, right? We just forgot how to do all this stuff, right? So I don't know if we'll look into that before I leave tonight to see if Holy Basil in Michigan would actually grow. But let's talk about the good stuff. Okay, so I'll stop talking on that part. So Holy Basil Haven, nature's stress busting secret. So this is a really, really good one to think about with stress. related. Now, remember, always with all of these, there's always a disclaimer. I am not saying you should take this. Take it at your own precautions. Check with your doctor. Those kind of situations. So this one, especially blood thinners, etc., you want to make sure you check with your doctor before you can take any of this stuff. Tonight is all about knowledge and understanding what it does, and to see if it's something that maybe you would like to do in the future or something. You know what I mean? So, okay. So what we're going over tonight, what is holy basil and what it can do for you? Where does it fit in our 1% tribe lifestyle? And learning how to use it and understanding its role in our body's innate intelligence. Okay. Because it's great to hear, it helps with stress, but why? If I don't know why, that's going to be a little tougher, right? Okay. So what is holy basil? Holy basil is actually also known as what they call Tulsi. It is also known as, Tulsi is the good name. There's Asimum sanctum, and it's a sacred herb in Ayurvedic medicine and Hindu culture, native to India and parts of Southeast Asia. These aromatic perennial flowers belong to the mint family, which is kind of cool, right? And typically grows 1 to 2 feet tall with green and purple leaves and small purplish flowers. Revered as the queen of herbs, it holds a spiritual significance, often planted around temples and homes for its protective and purifying qualities. The key characteristics: it has great flavor and aroma. It has a peppery, slightly spicy taste with a clove-like minty aroma. Very distinct for culinary. But the medicinal uses in Ayurvedic medicine, hopefully you guys understand, there's Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic. Okay, so Ayurvedic is another huge herbal traditional medicine, thousands of years studied. We'll go through that sometime, because that one, there are professors in just Ayurvedic medicine. Tulsi is classified as an adaptogen. Okay, so if you guys remember what an adaptogen is, but it also help manage body stresses. So with an adaptogen, remember, it's kind of a correct. It touches all organ systems. The one you hear about a lot in the news is like ashwagandha. So ashwagandha is this great adaptogen. Why did people start taking it? There's a few different benefits, but the major one is, like, if you take ashwagandha, it's kind of, think of it like a multivitamin for herbal. Okay. So when you say adaptogen, that's what it's doing. It's adapting every system of your body to work properly, to help your innate intelligence work the best it can. It's used to support immunity, reduce inflammation, improve respiratory health, and balance blood sugar. It's rich in antioxidants, including eugenol, which contributes to its anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. So this is how you take it. You can take it as a fresh leaf, a tea, a powder, or supplements. That's usually how it gets taken. So I like doing this cultural role just so you guys understand, because sometimes it helps to know from these other cultures, like, how that works. So in Hinduism, Tulsi is considered a manifestation of the goddess Lakshmi, symbolizing purity and devotion. It's used in rituals, offerings as a symbol of well-being. Okay, so they found it as a herb that helps in a lot of different things. That's the cultural role. The health benefits suggest that it may lower stress, enhance cognitive function, support digestion, and promote cardiovascular health. And also, it's also studied for its potential antiviral and antimicrobial bacterial conditions. Sorry. All right. This is where I wanted to know in my notes. It thrives in warm tropical climates and well-drained soil and full sun. So we're going to have to figure out a way to grow this sucker. Or there's it because it's in the mint family. We might have a shot to see what mint actually does in Michigan anyway. So, yes, Brian is correct. That helps regulate cortisol. When any of the, so remember this, anytime you're talking an adaptogen, what is regulating cortisol? Cortisol is legitly looking at there's two different nervous systems, right? Or there's the subconscious nervous system and the conscious nervous system. The conscious nervous system is the one where you tell your fingers to move and all those. The subconscious is what they call the autonomic nervous system. Kind of in your head, think automatic. Cortisol is a very big byproduct of what they call the sympathetic nervous system. But the sympathetic nervous system is also controlled by the subconscious or the autonomic, right? So the autonomic nervous system, because when they say cortisol regulation, it means that if you got into a relaxed state, you're going to help regulate the cortisol. And that's one way Holy Basil does its action. There's the other side of that coin, that autonomic is called the parasympathetic. So you need this perfect balance between the two. You need both of them. You need what they call the fight or flight response, but you also need the rest and digest. And we need to get to this balance many times in our lives. The stress of the day is what causes this cortisol, right? Disassociation from your parasympathetic side of the world. And because of that, discombobulation, your homeostasis is off because you have all this high stress and you're constantly running your fight or flight mechanisms in your subconscious. Something like Holy Basil or ashwagandha are great adaptogens. Now, to do it, Holy Basil seems in this situation to do even better than ashwagandha. Ashwagandha overall does all kinds of things really, really well. Holy Basil, though, has a significant role on the stress, like the thought portion of stress reduction. So just remember that when you're looking at Holy Basil, very relaxing. I think Brian would tell you he likes it. I believe so. Let me know, Brian, like what you think as well. And I'll read that comment, like how you like it versus other things you've tried as well. So Brian's tried chamomile, many different ones. Chamomile is really good, but it's not what they call an adaptogen. But it can do very similar. Chamomile is more of like a muscle relaxer. Holy Basil literally goes after that fight or flight response and gets it regulated with the parasympathetic side of your brain. Okay. Sorry. I'm like stuttering today. This is crazy. This is a good one though. So I want to make sure. Okay. So our first thing we're going to talk about. Okay. Yep. So this is our next part. So how do you take it? Holy Basil or Tulsi is what the other one is, right? Can be taken in various forms. The dosage depends on the form, purpose, and individual factors, right? So these are all dependent on who you are, health status. That's why we always say before taking anything, consult somebody, right? The provider, like a healthcare provider of some sort. And sensitive. So this is not a guide for you to take any of this. It's just to make sure you know how it's taken. Below is a general guide on how to take it in general dosages and available for research. So if you're going to take fresh leaves, you want to chew them 2 to 5 fresh leaves daily. Or you can steep 5 to 10 leaves in hot water to make a tea. Pretty easy. You can find Holy Basil tea as well in little bags. Just know you need what they call like a therapeutic dose. Teas are phenomenal, especially for introduction to anything, because what happens is with different herbs that I'll be recommending, if you can take it as a tea, you can actually feel the slight differences that it occurs. Chamomile tea is my favorite example. You'll see, people go down, like we'll even recommend chamomile tea to little tiny babies if they're not sleeping well, in very small doses, and you can see it work. And tea literally is your body takes what it needs no matter what. Okay. So remember that. Ooh, I'm going to put up Brian's while we're talking. So with holy basil, you know that you have a that you have a stressful and anxious thoughts, but they just stay at bay and don't get into your thought process. That's cool. It kind of separates you from the program, right? We talk about that with our thought process. So it helps you with the ability to slow down. I would say holy basil might be the one that you can step back and take a 40,000 foot view. I think that would be a good way to say that. That's good though. Okay, Tulsi tea. Steep 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried holy basil leaves, or 1 tea bag for 5 to 10 minutes, and drink 1 to 3 cups daily. Very popular for stress reduction. There is one called out there that I think it's called Tulsi tea. And so if you see Tulsi tea, that is holy basil. So if you see just a general one and want to try it, that's how you do it. But you see 1 to 3 cups daily is where you want to be to really, really get the effects. Some people don't take enough, or they take like half a sip of a tea and be like, "Ooh, I don't feel anything." Well, yeah, because you got to put some tea down, man. You got to put it down, right? And so just remember that it's very good for it's very popular for stress reduction, respiratory support, which is another huge one that we'll talk about tonight, in general wellness. Can be sweetened with honey or mixed with other herbs like ginger. So that's another one. The powdered, you can get dried leaf powder, right? It's not a supplementation, but 1/4 to a half a teaspoon, which is a pretty good amount, into water, and you can make smoothies and those kind of things. So these are different ways to do it. And of course, capsules and supplements. And of course, follow the manufacturer's instructions, but it's usually between 300 and 600 milligrams, 1 to 2 times daily. Okay. So those are all the different ways to take it. Now, remember, I always recommend highly, like normal, tea. Tea, if you're not sure, but you want to try something. And there's literally Tulsi tea. Tulsi tea is a brand, I believe. That's pretty popular. So, but the biggest thing is you got to make sure you take enough, right? You got to make sure you kind of get to that in your head, calculate couple hundred milligrams, of getting that good stuff. It's called the therapeutic dose. If you don't get it, then you get less of an effect. Okay. So you can take it as a tincture extract. This is usually the way I recommend, because I'm working with the person if it's happening. So we know what we can do, what we can't do. You can take 10 to 15 drops in water or juice 1 to 3 times daily. But it's super easy to absorb, and it's super powerful in a tincture form. So that's why you want to a lot of times start with a tea. Just because it's nice. You can tell on your body what's going to happen. Listen to this one. I did not know this one. Terry probably know. I always think of this. I want to study them, but I haven't done it as much. Essential oils. I know how to use some. It's just not as many cool ones are out there, or I don't know all the different ones that are out there. So essentially, the essential oils, use it as aromatherapy. You can diffuse 2 to 5 drops or dilute it in a carrier oil, or for topical applications. And on the temples, it's saying for stress relief, for relaxation, or skin health, because it has some antimicrobial properties. Okay. I think that's it for that. Okay. So let's move on to how you take it. So that's basically it. You want to take in capsule form, you want to be like 300 to 600 milligrams to get that good amount. A powder is going to be 500 to 1,000 milligrams. Teas is where I'd be at. I'll be telling you, just make sure that any of these things that I'm telling you, you go get recommended with your doctor, right? So you make sure it's okay. Very, very, it's pretty safe, but as a tea, it's always safe. So just 1 to 3 cups of that tea to get that therapeutic dose. Okay. All right. Okay, so I like this one. Just some key considerations on like how would you time it? So you want to do morning or early afternoon, um, to get to make sure you don't get this sleep situation, because you can get a little dozy offy, if you know what I mean. For Is that right? Time to take them. Mild stimulation affecting sleep. Oh, okay. So sometimes there is okay, I see. Brian White would be able to tell you that. Does it actually stimulate you or does it put you to sleep? I would think de-stressing would almost knock you out, but maybe it has a different effect where it kind of like energizes you. For stress or sleep support, evening doses may be okay at lower amounts. So maybe it has a different effect. I know it's not one of those that you reach for like if you can't sleep. The Holy Basil is not one of those that you would choose, right? But for stress reduction, it's very, very good. Oh yeah, this is another one that we always know. I hope my 1% tribers will always know. Go on a run. So what I mean by that is you want to go on different things for a run. So if you take Holy Basil for a while, you don't want to take it forever. We don't want to get our bodies so used to running on Holy Basil. It's kind of like, don't build it up in your system. Easiest example, if you drink a beer a day, pretty soon it's going to take 2 beers to get you drunk or whatever, or, buzzing, right? And then 2 leads to 3, leads to 4. You build up almost an intolerance to the ability. By staying away from it, getting off of the Holy Basil for a while, and then coming back to it, it can be really helpful. Let's see. I usually take my supplement in the morning, and it doesn't make me tired. It just kind of gives you a baseline of normal energy. That's what that definition was saying. That's why I'm like, a lot of the things I tell people, like especially if it's getting that cortisol level down, like you were mentioning, typically you get where, I'm going to go to sleep, right? So that's an interesting process there. So that's cool. Okay. All right. And then here's the biggest thing: precautions. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or trying to conceive, it can have some different situations like that. So make sure you're asking your doctor. May lower your blood sugar or blood pressure. So if you're on medications like that, you got to watch that. And then supposedly, I always like throwing the side effects just so you know. There could be some nausea or allergic reaction, which is very, very rare. But if those occur, stop. That's why I always say recommending the tea aspect. But if you know what Holy Basil is, then you can start asking these questions, which you should every time you take anything anyway, right? Okay. So this is where it gets kind of fun. I want you guys to understand the reason you're here on 1% Tribe is to learn how these work. It's great to know that Holy Basil, how you take it, blah, blah, blah. But how does it work? Because if we can understand how it works, that will help our innate intelligence of our body understand when we need something, or we can help our body out in certain things. Holy Basil is also known, we already did that. Also known as Tulsi, is an herb from the Ayurvedic medicine, and it's adaptogenic, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant properties. Its mechanisms of action are tied to its bioactive compounds, include eugenol, ursoleic acid, rosmarinic acid, and some essential oils. The adaptogenic effects. So this is the stress reduction. This is where it's really good as an adaptogen for stress. It helps regulate I love this one, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. That is a big one. HPA axis. You'll see that in a ton of different supplementation. That helps reduce the cortisol levels. This mitigates the stress and anxiety by balancing, right? What we talked about, balancing the stress hormones, cortisol versus rest and digest, right? So we're going to do a sympathetic and our parasympathetic. So it sounds like, so far that I've seen, that Holy Basil is one of the best at doing that. So, studies even suggest it enhances resilience to physical and psychological stress by modulating neurotransmitter activity, such as serotonin and dopamine. That's pretty awesome. It has an anti inflammatory and antioxidant effect. Okay. So, understand this is one stress reduction. But according to Brian and myself, and even the research out there now, this is a stress reduction that's not going to knock you on your can. It's not going to make you tired. So this could be one that maybe we start the day with, possibly, right? Start a nice day with a holy basil tea and see how that goes. And so the next best thing it does is anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. Compounds like eugenol and rosmarinic acid inhibit pro-inflammatory enzymes like COX-Q10 and reduce oxidative stress by neutralizing free radicals. And of course, we understand anything that attacks those free radicals, that nasty ones that get around and cause your body melee, is a good thing to have. This protects cells from damage, potentially lowering the risk of chronic disease like heart disease and diabetes. Some other things that holy basil does. Holy basil enhances the immune function by increasing the activity of T cells and natural killer cells. These are two types of cells that are in your immune system in certain areas. It also has antimicrobial properties, effective against bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Its essential oils, which is part of holy basil, the plant, disrupts microbial cell membranes, inhibiting pathogen growth. So actually, holy basil you could use on your skin as like an antimicrobial type, like a essential oil or like a rub. So that would be pretty awesome. And remember, if you use it like that, the coolest part is your skin absorbs all that. So you're going to get some of that niceness. That's why they're using essential oils on the temples, because it's going to go into the nervous system and help that. Blood sugar regulation. It improves insulin sensitivity and reduces blood glucose levels by enhancing pancreatic beta cell function and inhibiting glucose absorption in the gut. Whoa, that's pretty awesome. So, and the reason that's awesome is a lot of times when we're talking blood glucose, there's lots of different ways, herbal actions, but when you're able to go into the pancreas and actually help it get that innate intelligence to you do proper insulin production, that could be a game changer. Cardiovascular benefits. These are all research things with a one plant. Can you believe this? Holy basil reduces cholesterol and triglyceride levels, potentially through its antioxidant effects and by inhibiting lipid peroxidation. It may also lower blood pressure by promoting vasodilation and via the nitric oxide pathways. Now we're off to the neuroprotective and cognitive effects. Its compounds protect brain cells from oxidative damage and inflammation, potentially improving memory and cognitive function. It may modulate acetylcholine levels, supporting brain health in conditions like Alzheimer's. I don't think I've given you any reason not to try this. But that's how this herbal stuff goes, guys. It blows my mind all the time, too. How we all didn't know all this stuff. Or at least, like, you hear one thing on the news that sells. Isn't this sad? Sad when, like, the AI takes over and they just tell you, oh, my gosh, Jeremy wants to look at this one herb because of toe fungus, right? And that's all you see is toe fungus. You don't get to know any of this other information. What if you didn't need a different herb? What if holy basil was the only thing that collected quite a few different areas of interest? I would say, just out of curiosity, that's a pretty good one. But so that's really good. Oh yeah, there's more. But wait, there's more. So, holy basil, digestive health. Holy basil actually promotes digestion by stimulating enzyme secretion and reducing gut inflammation. And it could alleviate symptoms of indigestion and bloating. Okay. I know that was a lot at you. A little short, though, because it's just, I love these little ones. I like the focused energy on like an herb so that we can get in there. You don't have to listen to me for an hour, but what is so profound is how many of you in the chat probably have heard of holy basil but never even thought of using it. There's teas in every grocery store that has holy basil in it right now. There's teas that say Tulsi in every gas or every grocery store. Okay. Sitting there. And did you see how many benefits I had to go through? Yes. That was a lot. All right. So, with that said, go get some tea. Go get some tea. We're hoping like this year we're going to get like a bunch of teas and have them at the office as well. We're just kind of setting up the space and everything else. So it would be nice to have some of those, and just for more jealous, making sure that I have some of these things as well. So what are we going to do for our 1% improvement this week? I would get some tea, get some Tulsi tea, get some holy basil tea, right? Try it. See how you like it. It's very good. It sounds like you can take it all day. You don't have to worry about when you take it. But make sure if you get into the tea, you can try that stuff. If you want to go at a different level, you want to make sure you check with somebody, right? To make sure you're doing it correctly. The other thing is check with me. Come into our office and talk to any of us about, this could be a good, supplement for you. Like I said before, there's lots of different ones. There's lots of different herbs that can do this. But this holy basil seems to have so many good health benefits, and in the right spots, right? Because life happens. There's stresses all over the place. What if this works in that stress environment while the day is going on? That'll help the innate intelligence of your body big time. And if you want to, let me see. I don't know if you guys know how to use that QR code thingy. Let me see. Boom. I think this is it. If you do that QR code, that goes to our full script. Our full script's like the Amazon shopping where you can just make your own account. And it's all these vetted. I think they're up to like 35,000 supplements. Several companies you actually use them for their distribution. And so it's a fantastic, I love using full script all the time. Wish I would think about it more. I've signed up so many people on it. It's like ridiculous. But once you get a hang of it, it's got an app. That's the only place we go. I just ordered some of my first krill oil on there because I've wanted to do krill oil. I kept doing fish oil, but then I saw the major benefits of this krill oil, and that stuff is really, really good. So just remember that as we go. I don't know how to remove that. Okay. But yeah, let me put that up in the corner a little bit. So there is a little QR code. But yeah, at the end, let me do one more thing. I want to see. All right. Sometimes I can find. Let's ask. Find out if. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let's do that again. Maybe this one. Okay. Let's ask a question. Now that everything's AI. Give me 2 seconds on it. Okay. So I asked, can holy basil be grown in Michigan? Which we kind of know indoors it can. Yeah. So it definitely can be grown in Michigan because our hardiness because we're 4A to 6B, and it's a warm seasonal annual herb to tropical thrive. So here's a breakdown. You need to between 70 and 85 and cannot tolerate frost. And then so May to September it's good enough, but you'll have to start seeding indoors, and you can do it in a greenhouse and all those kind of things. So there's a couple that, oh, that's interesting. So the ones that I wanted to show you in the mint family that are pretty decently close. So if you're thinking of in a colder climate, I don't know if the medicinal properties, these haven't been studied as much, but they're definitely in the same family. So it's in the mint family. And these are ones that are close and they grow like crazy in Michigan gardens. Sweet basil, right? Which we kind of understand. That's pretty close. Lemon basil, which is another one that grows in Michigan. Purple basil, I know grows because I got a ton of that. Mint, lemon balm, and oregano. So those are all ones that are very, very close, actually. So that's kind of cool. Oh, our Rumble name is The Prize Inside, I believe. Let me look. Yeah. Yeah, I always forget. Like, sorry. Yeah, it's Surprise Inside. Yeah, it's Surprise Inside. I'll put it in the stream, Terry. Again, if you just hopefully, I don't know if that you can actually click on it or save it. But the Rumble channel, man, I love it because I mean, I can even like I can do I wish it would give I don't know why it doesn't do it, but it's called the Prize Inside. The chiropractor journey's got this little logo dude on there. Right there. So you'll find it. If not, reach out to me. I'll send it to you as well. So that's never an issue because I want to get up to like 100 subscribers because I am loving this stuff. But so with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight. I had a blast. We got the Tigers kind of going in the back direction. And next week, I'm guessing it's going to be something physical. We're going to talk about some posture stuff, I think next week. But don't forget Wednesday night, 8:30, Whole Health Weekly. We go through some articles. It'll be well worth your time. And with that said, ladies and germs, it's good talking to you, and see you next week.